me.
No, just whisper, Danny.
What?
Only whispering.
Okay.
How's everybody doing?
Good. I mean, good. I'm just doing good.
That's really tough to do in a whisper.
Yeah.
That hurts really bad.
I don't know if I was going to join you in a whisper, and I was like, I don't have a Marlon Brando accent or impression from The Godfather that I can pull out of my hat. Well, it was a very good boy of you. A good boy goes, Georgie. Your services.
You sound like my uncle.
It doesn't sound like you're whispering. Okay. Coming up in a minute.
1 minute.
How are you gonna do? Yeah, you gonna do this during the show, or is this only pre-show?
That's the whole point of this. It's the suspense for people to find out. Is he gonna do it during the show? Is he not? Does this shit stop?
I'm suspenseful to know if which Godfather George liked better, number 1 or 2.
I don't think he ever saw him.
Yeah, I did.
He's a mob movie aficionado. Of course George did.
Coming up 30.
That's a good question.
Or gangster
I
movie,
would
I should say.
I really liked the first one. Of course, the second one was awesome, and
I agree with you.
it kept things moving. But the first one had you wanting to see another one. Not that the second one didn't, but I guess that's what made the first one so great. Kind of like Rocky 1.
Coming up. Stand by.
I think that's tougher.
I just love the
Rocky 1 or 2.
the christening scene.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMAjunkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is gonna be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMAjunkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Gold. This is what we do and why we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMAjunkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communication stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMAjunkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMAjunkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMAjunkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Gold.
It's Friday, November 16th. We're live from the Mandalay Bay here in Las Vegas, the fight capital of the world. It's the MMAjunkie Radio Show. I'm George. That's Goes, and that's Dan, Tom. Back east, Danny Otto. Ready to close out the week, guys, but man, waking up first thing in the morning to see what Cynthia Calvillo went through. Oof. That kind of ruined my morning a little bit. I couldn't believe that, man. She weighed in at 118.5 pounds, so she came in 2.5 pounds over. Because, as you know, if you're not fighting for a title, you have a 1 pound allowance. So strawweights can weigh 116. I did not understand why she had to go through all that. I mean, I think you have a good idea that you're going to miss. So if you're going to miss, what's the difference between 118.5, 120.5? Start rehydrating. Give her your 20%, and either, you know, the other lady can decide if she wants to fight or not, or maybe the next day Cynthia can only weigh so much. But God, that was so awful to see that, man. Watch her struggle to take steps, almost fall down. She'll probably be the first to admit, hey, it was my fault. I mean, you know, she miscalculated her weight cut. But either way, I did not like that, man. So
is she fighting?
She
can't be fighting, right?
Fight is on. So
it's on still, really?
That's what it's reported as, yep.
Yeah.
Come on, I don't know about that, man.
I know. That was something else, man.
I would, if I were her opponent, I would feel uncomfortable fighting her. I would almost say I don't want to do this.
Remember they all cut to a certain amount, so I think they all have an idea of what they feel like. But even though Paulina can't apples to apples say I'm as fucked up as her right now, I think she knows, you know, with fluids and nutrition, you'll get back 100%. I don't know, and hey, it's not her problem. She might be thinking, hey, I'm at 95. Let's say I'm Paulina Botelho and I'm at 95. I don't think anyone makes it to 100. Maybe. But I'm at 95. She's only going to get back to 90, you know, and that's her problem. I get 20%. She wants to fight. The fight's on, you know. Remember, the fighters are programmed a certain way.
I guess.
Yeah,
you and I, we're normal cats. Dan's a normal cat. Danny's a normal cat. The listeners, you know, I mean, maybe a few of us have a little bit of a screw loose. Dan, you know, he trained and he competed, and a few people get down on the streets. But for the most part, this is another level. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I sympathize with what Ghost saying, and I appreciate it. But at the same sense, I would argue that I'm actually not machismo, not comparing anything, but more wired psychologically, like a fighter. You know, as far as chips on shoulders and the way they're kind of wired. And yeah, I think that's probably the reason why somebody as nice as Dan Tom competed in violence for most of his life. It doesn't make much sense. It's just a certain psychological wiring. That's another conversation for another day. But to the point of the way why fighters probably won't take that stance, which I don't disagree with. I wish more people vocalize what Goes just did. But the problem is like, not only do you have statistics that, like, most of these guys that are quote unquote struggling to hit and miss their mark are not only winning. You know, they just spent 8 weeks training and building this person up and fearing this person. Like, this is the person that I got to take out to make my paycheck. And, you know, I'm going to look back at Cynthia Calvillo's fights where, like, you know, that Jessica Birch fight before she got into the UFC where she just elbows this girl to death with elbows, you know, like busting open her face. And fighters see that and feel that and go, I don't want that to be me. And to the point to where not only you have that, but then when you see them having struggle on the scale come weigh-in day, whether you struggled or not, part of you does the good. The emperor comes out. Yeah, the emperor comes out, man. You're happy to see them struggle. You want them to struggle. You want to make them pay. You know, oh, you missed weight? Okay. All right, I'm going to make you pay now. It's almost the opposite of what you think. It's not because they're bad people, but it's just a certain wiring. You know what I'm saying? That you have to kind of put your mindset in. But yeah.
What about the UFC's part, though? Commission. Like, I could see if she walked up there, missed weight, and maybe, like, people were helping her a little bit. She couldn't stand. Like, she put her arms up and was just, like, falling off the scale. Like, that's just not right. It's not a good look.
So you're saying them shut down the fight?
I would think, man.
That's
because if something
bad
happens,
yeah.
If something bad happens,
she'll want to get her payday,
though.
though. She'll want to get her paycheck, and you know what I mean? So if they can come to an agreement like that, perhaps, you know, I told you guys before, I heard behind the scenes, she's one of Dana's favorites. I don't know if that'll remain that way. Remember, I also told you Francis was one of his favorites, and so was Yair. This was 2 years ago. All of them had, I think, either undefeated records or close to, and they just had something about them. And then Francis lost a couple fights, took off for France before his biggest fight. That didn't sit well with Dana. And then Yair and him butted heads. Remember, fake news? No, this is real news. So it can change like that. Yeah, I mean, if they can come to some sort of agreement where the other one gets paid, probably pay and show and pay, or they rebook her fast, at least pay her for her show. You know, because these camps cost these people money, all the travel, and then Cynthia the same thing, and give her some sort of a pass. I don't know, man. Or maybe that's the penalty. Who knows? But look, they're independent contractors, but I think some of them are their guys and their gals. They'll look out for them. You know, some of them, not all of them. When Quentin Rampage went on a rampage on the freeways of Southern California, Dana White flew out to be with that guy. Of course he was a superstar, and he looks out a little bit more for the superstars. But there are some guys and gals that he cares about. Remember when Ariane got in that trouble with the limo, with the alleged assault or whatever? He said, she's our baby. I remember him saying that because they've had her since they were even before 21 or early 20s, you know. And I think Ariane in an interview said Dana even assisted with pointing when she was first buying her house. So there's some that they do that for. I think Cynthia might be one of them. Who knows? But here's the thing. Going back to competition. Goes, if you're a cornerback and Dan's a wide receiver, and on the last play he saw you gimping a little bit, you know, you tweaked your knee or your ankle. He's coming back to the huddle to tell me, let's go right back at him. You know what I mean? Because you either got to decide, coach, I can't go, bring in the backup, or I got this, I'll shake it off, but we're coming after you. Same thing with the quarterback. Man, I think we rattled this cage. Let's get after him. Let's put him out of the game. It's just not as public, but in the competition side, yeah, you see a weakness, you're going to go for it. So now, once all that's established, and unfortunately the money is settled, then all of a sudden you see somebody kind of come out of that shell and go, "Are you all right?" You know, that's good. You're not fighting. You know,
worst case scenario,
I feel so bad.
Dan burns me. Maybe I tear an Achilles, or maybe I just fall. I lose out on that play. Worst case scenario here is not good for her, not good for the UFC.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I get that, but I bet you she wants to fight.
Oh yeah.
So you know, she's an adult.
All I'm saying is this: there's her camp, her cornerman. There's the UFC. There's a commission. There are a lot of people that could stop this.
Right, and there's also a doctor who's probably in the middle of it, either clearing her or not, and then the UFC also has to hurdle their legalities involved.
Yeah, just to tie things up, my thought earlier, I got a little too impassioned on the fighter side of it, which is true. George just actually laid some great analogies as far as other sports where we've seen it. And in this sport, when a person comes back from a nose injury, you'll see the fighter jab more at the nose. A little harder to pick up, a little more obscure. They should be jabbing at the nose, but more specifically legs. How many times do we see guys go for leg kicks when fighters are coming back from knee injuries? More specifically, Raquel Pennington, Amanda Nunes, they were friends. They were friends before, they were friends after. What does Amanda Nunes go for right at the beginning of the round? She messes up Raquel's leg. The same one that she almost got. Not that she had a surgery, she almost lost her leg. Like, there's no sympathy in this game.
She almost lost her leg? I didn't know that.
In an accident, in a 4x4 accident, and it got crushed. And you can actually see, like, kind of big scar tissue that's there. That's the first thing Amanda Nunes went right for. There are no friends in this business. You know, you know, I think that's what we've kind of learned. You know, like T.J. Dillashaw going to kill from Fighters Union guy to I'm here to kill the division. You know, I mean, there's no skins in this game but your own when you're a fighter. But to tie it into the greater point, I think Go said, is there's other athletic and commissioning bodies for this, and they should be stepping in. And that was, I guess, my grander point as well. And to kind of just to tie it off with an example, Mitsuto Hirota was pulled for being you know, looking just as woozy off the scale. Now I just looked it up on our MMAjunkie our article when we were for UFC Japan. We were supposed to fight Charles Rosa for that fight. He missed by 4 pounds, granted, whereas Calvillo, I believe, missed by 2. 2.5. If we're going by the 116.
Yeah, that's not too. So, you're saying ratio-wise, or?
Well, I don't know. I mean, either way, I think it's close enough, right? I mean, they both looked. They both looked. It was, you know, it says, you know, Mizuto Hirota due to health and safety concerns, UFC featherweight bout, you know, has been scrapped. Like, I feel that the health and safety concerns were at stake here this morning.
Right. So I think the UFC has to, for one, they'll rehydrate her. They'll send the doctor there and then evaluate her, and then I think they'll put it in her, making her decision. But they can step in, and trust me, her decision will be a lot easier if it's established that they can help out in some way with the camp. And either the UFC takes a hard line and goes, no, because we don't want 600 other fighters trying the same shit. And not that it happens all the time, but still, this is part of the job. Or, hey, you know what, let's look, okay, you've done this with us, you know, this is how it's happened in the past. I don't think this was a late fight booking, I don't recall it being. Unfortunately, you know, this is just the way it goes. Let's get you to the PI, let's get you looked after, and we'll try and book you as soon as you are healthy. But that's just the way things sit, you know. Yeah,
that's a great point you bring up, George. Like, for folks listening, we could wake up tomorrow, and UFC's good about that. We question the commissions, we come at them, but in defense of the UFC, they're really good about having their own doctors and making calls when they need to where we could wake up tomorrow morning, right, George, to what you're saying, and see that the fight has been pulled, you know, after things settle, like you said, and they do checkups.
I mean, if you told me, hey, I barely slept, and I got this trip to New Mexico or whatever, I'm going to sit there and go, man, you're tired, get some rest. Get a hotel halfway through, you know, or whatever. And I can only do so much. I mean, I can't force you guys to stay, honestly. I really can't. But other than taking your keys away and then dealing with how pissed you guys are going to be. But that's the most I can do. At the end of the day, you guys are grown men, and if you decide to go, you decide to go, you know. But I think the UFC, luckily, after 25 years, as they encounter these situations, they go through a checklist and they add addendums to it. you know, as it goes, because each case is different, and they try and fall back on how they handled it, and you know, try and establish some sort of a pattern. You know, I remember Dennis Hallman. He had an incident once, and I think Dana sent him. He goes, "Get out of here."
Gave him both.
He had both, yeah. Show, you know, I think his house burned down. We found out later, but at the time, we didn't know all that. So all we were like, "Oh, look all of a sudden who's a teacher's pet," you know. But we didn't know. So we don't know the circumstances here.
Yeah.
Did her flight get canceled, thereby putting the weight cut back a day? I don't know.
Tim Means was just on our show saying something like that, right, George?
Sometimes the saunas aren't working in hotels. There's a lot of things that happen.
Kevin Lee had that incident in New Jersey. It just didn't open till 8.
Yeah.
He wanted to start cutting at 5, and they wouldn't let him in. What did Tim Means?
Something about like his fights, where he's recapping his fights, his travels to Brazil, and
yeah,
how that affected the weight cut, the travel.
Australia, he landed on Thursday. They fight Sunday morning. So, anyway, we hope the best for her. And the fight happens, then great. Luckily, these athletes are pretty well conditioned. Their recovery is pretty amazing. But yeah, man, how do we prevent this from happening? You know, going forward, is this basically her 3 outs? I don't know. I'm not implying that she's fucked up 2 other times. I'm saying, do they now tell her you're a 25er until the next fight, until you can prove it, until you come to the PI for a month and prove otherwise? You know, I don't know, but I hope they look out for her.
What's crazy was like the look on her face, and it looked like she just battled so hard, but she was still 2.5 off. It was like you didn't come close.
You see how bad she wanted to take that step even before they put the shower on her?
Yeah. And she seemed kind of like delirious, right?
Right. So when she was first walking, just taking a step, you could tell she was telling her body, hey, leg, foot, move, you know. And she couldn't, and then she finally did. And then the other 2 ladies, one of them was Heidi. No. Lene, excuse me. I think the other one may have been Dawn. I know a few of them, but not that well. They had to basically put, I call it a shower, but if you all recall,
yeah, like Karate Kid.
Karate Kid. Remember, like Daniel LaRusso had a shower curtain around her. So they put that around her. But as she goes up to the scale, she can barely stand. I mean, her legs must have just been weak and you know, shaking and giving out. And there was nothing else left in her in terms of water. She was as dehydrated as she could get. So that was terrible to see, man. Okay. We didn't touch on this yesterday, guys, but stop me if we did. Tension and
I think
money
when we
are back
at
on.
the end,
Floyd
we
Mayweather?
might have touched on it.
Did we?
But yeah, it's back on. Surprise, surprise.
No leg kicks. Yeah. So it's
we
a
knew that was going to
boxing
happen.
match.
It's an exhibition.
Yeah, it's an exhibition boxing match for 3 rounds, 3 minutes each, 9 minutes. What Floyd will get paid, I don't know. I'm sure he got paid to go do the press conference, and I'm sure he got paid or will get paid to do this. He had said that it was supposed to be a private exhibition match in front of wealthy people, and then all of a sudden they threw it on him. Hey, guess what? You're on the rising card. That's why he pulled out. I guess they were able to sort things out, but no leg kicks. Yeah, I think we're just back to boxing.
Well, with a kickboxer though, that's what's so weird about it, right? It's not even a boxer where you could. It's a kickboxer, and you're taking away the kick part of his game versus the greatest boxer that ever lived.
Yeah.
Okay.
If he can pull it off, he can pull it off. It's
How does
almost
he do it?
it's equivalent to you two walking in and saying, "I will be boxing a little kid after the show," and guess what? They're paying me $500 or $2,000.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Damn, can I get one of those?" Like,
and his hands will be tied behind his back.
Yeah, I mean, like, but he's able to pull it off. You know, so on the one hand, like, I wouldn't hate you guys. I'd go, hey, well, let's not use a kid, for example. Let's just use an adult that's non-athletic and never boxed, and yeah, hands tied behind their head or whatever. And I'd be like, you know, can I get one of those so I can get a free $5,000 payday or an easy $5,000 payday? I would not stop you guys from getting it. I'd just be jealous. I guess that's what I am, is jealous that Floyd can pull this off.
I think my mic just went out.
Your mic's out? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Well, no, I was going to say, yeah, I mean, it just – I don't blame him because, yeah, he's pulling it off. It's a little bit of a circus show, but this day and age, who cares? But, I mean, how much crazier can things get for this guy? I really don't know. Next time, is he going to fight a guy that's he's not actually a boxer, he's just wearing boxers? I mean, what else can you possibly do?
The listeners will say, well, why do you cover it? Because it clicks.
We have to.
Well, guys, the bottom line is because it clicks. People want to read about it. And unfortunately, they want to read about it slightly more than somebody on the prelims in
Invicta or
Argentina.
whatever.
You know, who's going to win that fight? You know, for whatever reason, people want to read that more, and so we allocate a writer to cover the press conference and just keep an eye on it and anything that moves. I mean, it's because when I say the listeners will ask, let's say the 10, 100, whatever you are, that don't give a shit, there's 10 times as many of you that do. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. I don't want to make it sound like, oh, yeah, cheap clicks. But it's basically a business decision.
I mean, I clicked the story because I want to at least know what's going on, what's happening. I may not watch the fight, but I want to know what's going on.
Our guest today, by the way, will be Antonina Shevchenko. We might have one other guest. I had a real good initial contact with the other one. I thought it was a slam dunk, so I took my foot off the gas like an idiot. But all week we've had 3 or 4 guests, so I thought we would be okay with 2. But right now we got her locked in. She's in the second hour. We have plenty of time before we get to her. 866-522-2846 is the number to call in if you want to participate with any of the discussion we're having here regarding Tension versus Floyd Mayweather. The boxing exhibition match is on in Japan. Also, looks like the weigh-in results went well with the exception of Cynthia Calvillo. We kind of covered that. It's on the front page of MMAjunkie. She looked awful as she was weighing in. She could barely move. I was really, really bummed out, man, to see that. That was like not the first thing I wanted to see in the morning.
And the
After
look
lunch,
on the
it's
staff
okay.
too. The look on the staff, you could tell, like, oh man, this is a whole.
I know.
thing.
I know. After what I mean is just after lunch, it's like by then I've heard all kinds of bad stuff and I'm geared for it. But that you wake up bright and early and I want to just pat the dog, you know, hey little Maxie, how you doing? You ready for your walk or whatever? Then all of a sudden, boom, I see a female going through that. That ain't good. Not good for my psyche. We have a reader or a writer out there, Diego. Who's this guy?
Where?
He's been covering like, look at here, Elkins okay being the bad guy against Lamas. I thought it might be a recap of the interview we had with Elkins last week. And because I don't remember him saying something about being a bad guy, but then I see Diego Maria. So it looks like we have a correspondent down in Argentina kind of covering the event like one of our writers would. There's been some pictures and a video and some write-ups. So shout out to Diego Maria, who I literally know nothing about. You know anything about him?
No.
Hello, Diego.
Hey, Diego.
Yeah, thank you, Diego, for what you're doing. This is great, man. I thought maybe Fernanda might take a trip like that. I don't know how far Sao Paulo. Oh, no, she's in Rio. Rio to Buenos Aires, maybe, if I had to guess, 4 hours?
Was Diego the other character with Dora? Her combat in arms? They would smuggle stuff across the border?
I believe so. Danny, do you know? Sounds like something
Yeah,
you'd
it
know.
was Diego.
I love how you guys didn't even contest the last part that I tacked on there. But all right. Well, it's in their backpack. Nobody knows. All right, sorry.
Michael Chevello has come clean and said, even though one of the fighters that will be fighting, I think it's today or tomorrow, whose name is Brown Penis, he will not have any fun with it the way he did with Danny Maínas. Remember all the fun you had with Danny Maínas?
Oh man.
He said, nah, because I saw that. Look, we have a post in the blue corner by John Morgan. He says, there's no way Michael Chevello will be able to call a Brown Penis fight with a straight face. And if you see Chevello's face, it's hilarious. But somebody tweeted him, and then after that, he actually answered. He goes, nah, this one's going to be the way it's supposed to be, I guess. I don't see what's wrong with it.
He's going to be laughing his ass off on the inside.
There's going to be times
way
where it just,
He makes subtle puns. He's so good at subtle puns, though. Like, my favorite part of tape study is, like, when I come across, like, some, maybe like certain organizations he might have called a fight for and that fighter. And it's great because he's just like crafty things when they do the tail of the tape. And he's like, all right. And he's got a 2-inch reach advantage upstairs and a 4-inch reach advantage downstairs. And it's just like,
I've never heard that. I've heard say she's on her back more than Jenna Hayes.
Well, it was leg reach, as he said this.
Right. Okay.
You just
I guess
it.
With Chevello, mostly I got to just the fight part. I didn't get to see many of his
I don't even
breakdowns.
think he knows what's going to happen come fight night. Like, there's no way, man.
Also, last night, Bellator 209 took place. Results were coming in as we were doing the show, but they weren't done by the time we were done. But you've all had a whole 24 hours to see it. It's going to air tonight. And I know DAZN and Paramount can't be tripping, but we got to talk about it. Stuff went down. A world title fight was on the line. And Dan Tom did come through. I got to give you yours, Dan. Nemkov beat Phil Davis. I saw that, and I'm like, motherfucker. And I was so pissed because we were doing the show, so I just couldn't get, anything on it. I had already done a Phil Davis parlay with Pitbull and a few others. I kind of went chalk. I've been seeing Blake from NorCal go chalk everywhere, so I go, let me try a Blake special. And it bit me in the ass because Nemkov came through. You had explained that Nemkov had paths to victory, and I haven't seen the fight.
I haven't seen the fight either.
And it was close.
I haven't seen the
but
fight
he did
either.
get his hand raised. Split decision.
It will make you feel a little better. I was actually going to give props to you, believe it or not. You're giving props to me, but I completely spaced that the action was going in, and as George was explaining the definition of punters to us before the show, he was reminding us to get our punts in, and I completely forgot. So George reminded me, and I went right before we started yesterday's show, maybe like 5 minutes before, right? And I put a little straight play flyer. It was the only play I made on the card. And it cashed, and I was like, man, it's not for anything. I didn't play anything big, but let's just say it's nice Chipotle money.
Exactly.
So if you want some Chipotle on me, because I owe that to you, I would have forgotten. I would have forgotten to made that play if it wasn't for you.
Thank you, man.
And I made that mistake in the sports book many a times with some football bets that Goes can attest to.
Yeah.
And so thank you, George.
That's all we're looking for, man. Is a Pepsi or a coffee or a Chipotle. It's not like we're throwing around big cash. Sometimes my parlays will have like 5 legs, and yeah, I can win a couple hundreds there, but I'm not lying to anybody. It's not like we're maybe back in the day, some bigger bets used to roll, but as of late, trying to tighten the screws a little bit. But so let's start at the top, man. Patricio Freire, he won. He won his fight. He defeated Emmanuel Sanchez, and like I said, I mean him and Chandler and Askren and Alvarez, like one day Bellator's starting to form up its history, and if you talk about who have been the most either decorated or famous or longest tenured, whatever, there's going to be a list, and Freire's going to hit a couple of those because he's done some work there. He defended his title versus Emmanuel Sanchez, and maybe we could save the discussion because I don't think any of us have seen it for tonight or for Monday.
Saw some of the pictures though,
right?
In the hospital.
Yeah. But still unfortunate, man, that the Zone just did not air that live. What are they there for?
Yeah,
they've done some incredible things with Canelo and Anthony Joshua, and I think they have 6 MMA promotions now, including Bellator, under their banner. I have no problem paying them $9.99, but in a situation like this, come through, right? Paramount can cover us the next day if you don't have the Zone, or whether you're not paying for it or you just can't get it. I wouldn't see why that would be the problem, but that rattled me a little bit.
What's the percentage of people who don't even know this is on tape delay and will just tune in Friday night thinking it's a Bellator card and it's live? What do you think that percentage is? Because maybe that's who they're catering to then.
I don't know, because he does have, because they all say, our numbers do great on these things, and it's like, is it because of that? And I don't know if maybe like one of our own John Morgan or something can clarify more. But I brought this question up on the show yesterday, and I don't know about you guys. I don't know any answer on it. How much of it is a DAZN thing and how much of it is a Bellator thing? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to unfairly blame either party, but I got to imagine most of it would fall on Bellator, right? I mean, they have a history of it. They're the ones who promised this would be gone. I believe even in tweets and statements, at least to that store, that's why we're bringing on DAZN. So, yeah, I don't know where to cast the judgment or where it's falling, or is it just for these Israel shows? Because I believe they've had a UK show, right, under the DAZN regime. And so we've already tasted what it's like to skip the tape delay once, right? I think that's what it is too, right, guys?
Yeah, because even if I didn't, there's some of the fights we couldn't have seen live. But afterwards, I would have eaten my lunch while watching fights.
Oh, totally.
That's what UFC Fight Pass does.
Totally.
The fight's done. Boom, it's right there.
Yep.
Go back and rewind if you're an hour behind or whatever. So I hope they sort it out, but it was disappointing because if you're going to do that, then just give Israel a card. But don't give them Patricio Freire and Sanchez. That's actually a quality fight, where that should be stateside live somewhere, man, to an audience.
Yeah.
Same with Davis and Nemkov.
Davis and Nemkov didn't even get the co-main event billing, and then Davis loses, and he was buried in some card in Israel that we didn't even know he was on. And when I was going back to Davis, that guy's got such an underrated record, man. That guy's fought everybody.
I know. And he wasn't one of the guys that ever lost to John Jones, you know, while under the UFC banner.
Correct.
But now he lost to Vadim Nemkov, and I imagine when Brian Bader's done with the Grand Prix, that might be one of the guys he's looking to defend against. He's already beaten Davis twice, once in the UFC, once at Bellator. He beat King Mo. And I was
going to say, it's probably a favorable thing for Bellator. for Bellator to have.
Could be.
Point.
Could
'Cause
be.
What are you gonna do? Are you gonna keep promoting Davis? I mean,
Yeah,
Davis
exactly.
lost twice to him.
Yeah,
What are you gonna do
exactly.
there?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're at the top. Every division seems to have a couple killers, and then there's a drop off. And yeah, they need to start feeling the drop off. And hey, to be fair, the UFC kind of needed to do that as well with 205. Luckily, they found themselves, Dominic Reyes and a few other guys. But even that 205 division isn't that deep.
And not to pile on, I'm sorry, just real quick, to just add to your guys' point that you just made, is that Nemkov Davis, not Israeli. Patricky Pitbull, El Matador Sanchez, not Israeli. So we're not even catering to that market. Even though we criticize the UFC's market expansion, at least we've got an Argentina guy headlining this weekend in Argentina.
Right.
Anyways.
Well, isn't Haim Ghazali Israeli?
That's probably what got them to the
That's what probably got him
slot.
the co-main.
Yeah.
And by the way, Ryan Couture got himself a win. Congratulations to Ryan Couture and Extreme Couture.
Shouts.
He got the win over Haim Ghazali, and that was a decision. Cindy Dandois lost the fight to Olga Rubin. Cindy was on the show once here in studio. She's trained at Extreme Couture in the past. Not that often, but when Misha Tate was more active, she used to come and do some of her camps there. Look at her record, man. She's actually beaten some good fighters, but as of late, her showings haven't been on the winning side, unfortunately. Kirill Sidilnikov and Adam Koresh fought as well. Boy, why did I even go there? Sidilnikov lost, right? I think I looked that up.
Goes, you're on Koresh, right?
What?
Goes was on Koresh, right?
Nah.
No? I thought that was stat fix. I thought you were.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, why did you go where?
Let me look it up.
I don't get what you're
Do you guys know? I don't know why I brought up the fight when I can't remember who won.
Oh, yeah, Koresh won by a head kick.
He did,
KO,
yeah.
round
So
one.
Baby
Yeah.
Fedor lost. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There you have it. That rounds out the main card. The rest you can look up on your own or check it out later on. Yeah, let's do that. Let's take a break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on SiriusXM. Rush 90. Damn it. I had gone, I had gone almost a month. Fight Nation, Channel 93. Stay close. We'll be right back. I deserve it. free, though.
injuries
Oh,
forced
free?
them
Oh,
to
yeah,
retire undefeated
yeah.
from MMA
Yeah,
with a
yeah,
record
yeah.
of 0-0-0. They are Gorgeous George and Goes, and this is MMA Junkie Radio.
It's week 11 in fantasy football, and Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win. Hear expert advice and information plus news, injury, player rankings, and game previews. And if your fantasy football season has gone bust, there are many more ways to benefit and grow your sports investments on Sirius XM, Sirius 210 XM87, and streaming on your phone or at home on Sirius XM connected devices and speakers. Guys, I want to see if you can help me out with something. Dan
What's
brought
up?
something up yesterday, and I got curious about it.
Yeah, you did.
I want you guys to open up 4 windows for me. And I want the chat room to follow along and participate as well.
Okay.
UFC.com, Bellator.com, PFL.com, and then One Championship.
Okay.
Their websites. I don't know if those were all accurate. I guess I could tell you right now because I got them open. Yeah, UFC.com, PFLMMA.com, Bellator.com, OneFC.com. UFC changed their website. It was brought up here on the show yesterday. It was noted. I didn't like it. I think, Dan, I'll allow you to say what your opinion was real fast. What did you think of it?
I essentially, I'm an old person. I don't like change, and I also love simplicity and functionality. This doesn't have it, mainly just because, real quick, instead of just having the fights listed where we can see it with the times and the broadcast, we have to go through 4 to 7 clicks to get that same information now. Just putting that out there. Go ahead.
So Dan didn't like it either. And, but we had guests yesterday, and when we had Carlos on in the PFL, I was noting that I like their website, man. And I don't know if you understood, Dan, when I was pointing,
did.
and I go, hey, look, this is pretty cool. They have the matchups, and they had some pertinent info for their guys. And then later on, I went on the UG because I was looking for something else. I think it may have been when I was looking for Bellator results. And sure enough, a couple posts were made on it. UFC.com, it's worse than it was. So I thought, okay, let's tackle this topic here. There's 3 of us here.
Okay.
And I want you guys to let's start with UFC. No, let's start with OneChampionship.com. Are you guys there?
Yeah.
What do you guys think of it? What do you like about it and dislike about it?
I like the way it's structured. It's very easy.
Mm-hmm.
And right now when I click their menu, everything pops up. I like it. The only thing I didn't like about it, I was on it the other day, is they don't seem to have a store, which they have actually really cool gear. But you have to go somewhere else to get their gear. Now this is their
Evolve or something like that?
Something like that. This is their English version. Who knows? Maybe a different version is a little bit, has more bells and whistles. But it's not bad. I like it.
Okay, I'm going to say this. I like that the first window tells you kind of like what's upcoming. I don't know if that's next, but what's upcoming. Oh, well, actually the stories are flipping through. So, yeah, I'm sure it's covered there. Then there's a couple stories here about, to the right, like the latest ones that have been done by their editorial team. Yeah, up next is right below the one in Jakarta, which is on Saturday. That includes a brown penis. Then they get to videos pretty quickly, and then it's done. You don't have to scroll a lot and get lost. Because when you scroll a lot, you make mental notes of, like, that's pretty cool. I want to click that. Oh, wait, but what's this? Oh, wow, I got to check out this calendar. And then by the time you're back, because you start clicking one of those, you go down the rabbit hole, you forget what you're doing. One thing that I do like, though, is schedules right there. Boom, you click, like Jakarta, for example. I'm doing that. And it's got live on the app, purchase tickets. And if you scroll, boom, there you go. Here's the card. It's got their pictures. I don't see an egg or anything like that. It's pretty updated. Another thing I like is world champions. Hey, who are our guys and gals? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you get to them pretty quick.
Are they updated?
They seem updated.
Do they have
to
their
me.
newest champion? Let's see.
Kevin Bellion. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
He's there. So so that's just me, man. I'm not an expert on this stuff or whatever. And, of course, shout out to the ring girls. They're easy to find, too. Dan?
Yeah, no, definitely. I like that. I like the layouts, very clean from a website perspective. It's something that I've kind of had to get into myself. Building mixedmartialanalyst.com, thanks to my help from my friend Mike Stith, who designs websites for Zappos. He really kind of educated me on a lot of things you look for, the importance of having a clean look. One Championships definitely has it. I like the champion page, and I love
That's a good word, clean. I like it.
Yep, and you click on it, and it actually shows a fighter bio, which is the other big thing that I'm reserved to kind of give crap for the UFC, because I think they're going to bring that there, but their fighter bios that they used to have was more extensive than what one offers, but they don't offer it right now currently on the site. I like that one does.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now let's go to let's do PFL.
Okay.
If you scroll to the top, right away there's a banner there for tickets for New Year's Eve. Then I scroll down. You got again
countdown.
Tickets, schedule. What happens when you click championship? I don't understand that. I guess those are the title fights that are coming up, maybe. Yeah, there they are. Look, that's pretty cool. Ray Cooper III versus Magomed Karamov. It's got their ages, their the tail of the tape. I like that, man. Their PFL record and their MMA record. And I like the flag right away. You don't have to search. Is he from Dagestan? Is he from Uzbekistan? Where is he from? You kind of get that right away. It's got heavyweight, light heavyweight. They featured Cooper because it looks like maybe they're giving Cooper a push. Maybe he's the main event. You think sometimes they go by
I thought
by the weight class.
Were gonna be the main event.
Yeah, I was about to say sometimes they do that, but maybe Cooper's the main event. But I like that look. Under league, it gives you the standings. It's under fighters. Let me see. I'm just going to click welterweight. And there's all your welterweights right there. If you're wondering, like, hey, how deep is this thing? Pablo Kush, João Zaffarino, Rick Story, who retired, by the way, Jake Shields. Okay. So I like theirs. I like theirs as well. You scroll down to the bottom, you got Facebook, Instagram, those links, and boom, you're done. Let's go to Bellator. Oh, no. What'd you think, Goes, and what'd you think, Dan?
Easy to navigate through. It's whatever you need from them, you can pretty much find within 1 or 2 clicks.
Mm-hmm. Dan?
I was super impressed when I've been into it before, but when you were scrolling and the way they did their layout, yeah, super clean. Everything you need to know right there.
Okay. We moved to Bellator right away. Hey, the next event, boom. Of course, we know that event took place, but it'll be broadcasting that on DAZN and Paramount. After that, there's a couple quick videos. That's pretty cool. The heavyweight Grand Prix, you don't have to scroll too far to see how it broke down with the faces. I like that, man. There's power in that. If you're a fan that's just getting it, I know Nelson's not in it anymore, but I like seeing Nelson's face along with Rampage's to know, well, this meant something. I might have missed the quarterfinals, but to get here, oh, wow, you start, their faces moving on over these other names that they've beaten. They're putting themselves over. I mean, it's got Mir's face. It's got King Mo's. I like it, man. I like the way it is, and there's a few fights that they give you the whole fight. So a couple freebies. Go ahead.
I hope that they do that in at the live taping, because they have the banners of the champions, which I think is one of the coolest things any organization does. But I hope they have the tournament, like some kind of banner like that, hanging as well. And then you could have both pictures, and then whoever wins just rip it off, right? And it's right there. I think that'd be dope.
Under fighters, let me see how thorough they are. They start with the world champions, and then they go to all fighters, and it looks like they're all not separated by weight class.
You
but
can
rather
separate them, because I've done it before, back when we used to do rankings and stuff.
Oh, you can. You're right. So let me do that. Let me pick flyweight, for example. They got flyweight? They don't have flyweight. Okay, so let's pick middleweight. And there you go. I would like for them to fill in these eggs. I call them eggs, on Twitter when they don't have a profile face or a pick. Dana White, I think, used that first. But, if you sign someone, man, the first thing you got to send me is a pick. And let's get this ball rolling. Well, all right, Dan, what do you think of Bellator?
Yeah, I would temper. I agree with you there, George. But with the we'll get to the top dog. But with the top dog kind of being extensively poor in that department in the last year or two, I'll give Bellator a break there. But I do grade Bellator on 2 different scales. I love what they've done with their video department. Making the libraries available. I applaud that. If you go to the fighters, where you actually click on it, that where George left off on, where you actually have the fighters laid out. I like that it has their bios there and below it the videos. I will say two different scales because now we're kind of grading that against UFC's Fight Pass as opposed to UFC's site. And I would say Fight Pass is more superior because when I'm having to go look at Bellator footage, like if you notice when you click on the fighter, it doesn't pull up their fights in order. There's promotional videos mixed in between. The fights are kind of shuffled out of order to where, to be honest, guys, when I'm looking at my Bellator footage, I'm actually just using Google, typing in the fight because I know that the Bellator link is going to be the first one that appears on the page. And I will go to their site and give them credit and watch it there. But as far as navigating it, I actually find it easier to use Google. Now, as far as the website goes, I like Bellator's front page. It tells you everything you need to know in the relevance. I like that it has the matchup, the most relevant card first. Then you go down, it's got heavyweight Grand Prix. Then once you go down to the third column, it has featured videos as opposed to, again, I don't want to step on the big dog we're going to be getting to, having featured videos kind of swarm you in the first. What the hell am I even looking at here? You know what I'm saying? Like, keep that stuff down below. You have it tiered in priority, and they do that. So good on them.
And what do you think of Bellator?
I like Bellator. It's not too bad. I have to use their the fighter tab a lot, and I've always had good success with that. Sometimes they don't update it as quickly, but maybe it's like a day or two. Not like, I mean, the UFC can go months.
The PFL has a shop. It's a little hard to find. It's under League, but I guess it's there. And Bellator also has a shop. You noted that one championship didn't.
No.
And I don't think I found one either.
Now, I don't know if this counts, but the one thing I will give them is they have the best app, one championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth noting.
We're discussing websites, but yeah, no, you should note that because I think it's an important part of the brand, just like the website. Let's save UFC review for when we come back. The UFC has put out a new website, so we'll give you our review when we come back. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, Channel 93. And if I don't like it, they'll tweak
They
it
taught
again.
Andy Griffith how to whistle. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Get the radio channel numbers and a link to listen to your favorite NFL, college football, college basketball, NBA, or NHL teams sent right to your smart device. Just go to SiriusXM.com/sportstoday and click Add to My Calendar. Shout out to the Modern Day Monarchs, who will be playing tonight at Eddie West Field in Santa Ana, the mean streets of Santa Ana, to be exact. We'll be hosting Centennial High School from Corona, who I believe is the number 7 team in the nation. We're the number 2 team in the nation. Not in Orange County, not in Southern California, not in California, not on the western side of the United States, in the nation. These are nationally ranked high schools that will be battling. In the other bracket, it's St. John Bosco, who gave us our only loss this year. They'll be playing Charter Oak, I think is their team.
Where are
They're
they
from Thousand Oaks, and St. John Bosco has to go that way. And everything they've been through, I just wonder what the air quality will be like. And you know how devastated that community might be. That'll be a good time, hopefully, for you know those communities to kind of come together. I think St. John Bosco already extended the Charter Oak fans, hey, before you come out, join our tailgate. We would like to supply dinner. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was very
cool.
cool.
That was very cool. Yeah. So shout out to St. John Bosco, and even though they're kind of our rivals, and we anticipate meeting them next week, what's right is right, and that was really, really cool. Some dude kind of tried to got cute. I'm part of a Facebook group that I just joined, but I'm a little mouthy at times. And there's a high school called Narbonne. I had never even heard of it. And they go, and the guy's post was like, man, we're the only team to play 2 non-league nationally ranked teams. What's up? Blah, 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 you know? And I don't care that he said that, but I thought, wait a minute, I thought Modern Day hit those check marks. And I went back and looked. We played Gorman when they were number 11 and IMG when they were number 1. So even though they weren't 2 top 10, I still put it up there. The onus was on him to figure it out, right? And I go, hey, well, we did it too. And he goes, no, I did my homework, player. You guys were number 11, and I did my due diligence and blah, blah, blah. And I was going to let it go and go, rats, he got me. And instead I go, nah, let me see what they were ranked when they played them. Shout out to Bubba Gonzalez, too. Old school Redskin family type guy. He had kind of said, well, hold on a second. You guys got schooled when you played. At least Modern Day won their games. And he doesn't even like Modern Day, but I think it was some Santa Ana love. And sure enough, they played a high school called St. Louis in Hawaii.
Yeah.
You heard of them?
Yep.
Okay.
Fasha went there.
He
Cousin went there.
He played them. Or they played them.
Were
and
you
they
the
also
Pepperidge Farm guy? See that place again?
Fasha went there.
And they also played the other one was I'm blanking now. It was either Long Beach Poly or I think that's it. It was Long Beach Poly. And when I looked it up, guys, they were like 13 and 17.
Oh,
and I go, hold on a second. Yeah, I go, hold on a second. I go, I also did my homework, and I found this out. And he's like, his defense was, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. I'm like, what? That's stupid.
That's stupid.
You came with a fact, and I disproved it. But, man, it's really, really fun to go in there and just kind of throw some jabs. And
Did he send you a PM that just said, hey, man, you got me?
I've been joking with the St. John Bosco people, and they said, we need to have this guy come out sometime so we can show him a good time. I don't know if that means, hey, come out and barbecue with us, or hey, come out so we can beat the shit out of you. But maybe one day, especially if we meet next week and I'm there, I'd love to just meet those guys.
No, here's what you do. You say, that sounds good. I'll be wearing, and then you just pick out another guy, and if they walk up to him,
send that guy?
Yeah, but if they're like, hey, what's up, dude? Then you go, oh, man, it's me.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. But anyway,
Granted, we sacrifice
high school football is huge in some states, man, and California is one of them. That's where I'll be tonight in Santana. All right.
So UFC.
Oh, yeah, UFC. All right. Let's do the UFC one now. We're not going to have much time.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Why don't we do it when we start the second hour?
Orale.
Yeah, and then that way we can dive into the UFC and see what their website looks like. Let's do some shout-outs here in the chat. Kate, always great to see Kate in there. She's one of the first names that I see. Wishing everybody a happy Friday. Bucho Rules is in there as well. Ben from New Zealand, that is, checking in at like 4 a.m. That right there is a gangsta. Wakes up early to take in the show. The Human Moron is in the chat room. Let's see here. We have Martin Stabilo. Danny Olkers, of course. Olkers. MMA Buds. That's Dan from Morgan. He's tripping.
Why?
He was actually one of the first ones that alerted me to Cynthia Calvillo. He said, hey, let's stop with the excess weight cuts. This is a travesty. You know, this should not be happening. But then he wants her really punished. And I couldn't tell if he was pro-fighter or pro-UFC or what was happening. Hopefully he calls in and can explain himself. But it just seemed like he was dipping on both sides. Of course, Cynthia will tell you, hey, it's my bad for coming in that way. But
let it play out.
This is not a weight class that I think has had those types of problems. What are you going to do, create 120? I mean, I don't know. Unless the women are going to go every 5 pounds, and the men go every 10. I don't know. I don't know what the solution would be other than the center to 25. So I don't know how much excess there was for that young lady. I don't know if he even knows where she started. But we're at the top of the hour break. So we'll be back in 1 more minute. We can discuss that, and then we can take a look at UFC.com, and then we'll do some more shout-outs in the chat room. Leave us some questions if you have them.
It's completely useless to you.
Yeah, just like dry
Yeah.
ketchup.
Like ketchup, you could still eat a fry. All right. But chicken nugget with no sauce is fucking dumb.
Ketchup was like you're 4 years old,
Like
right?
just eating bread.
That.
Here we go. It's the MMA Junkie Radio Show. We were talking about Cynthia Calvillo and what happened to her this morning. If you haven't heard, she came in 2.5 pounds over. Looked like crap as she was approaching the scale. I felt for her, man. We called her fights at Tough Enough. And so we've known her for a while.
Nice girl.
And she, even though she has that gangsta side, she'll launch an F-bomb from time to time. She was always nice and respectful. And you know, she hadn't fought in almost a year, and now this. I don't know if that'll mean her sending her to 125 or what. I don't know that we have a weight-cutting epidemic as a whole for the sport. Yeah, at 115, perhaps. With Cynthia Calvillo, not really. Is that her first time? Anybody know? Let me look.
I believe so.
So,
I mean,
but I don't know what we can do with her other than to
you gotta
send
let it
her
play out,
and
though.
others as well to the next division up and see how that goes. Now, what's going to happen when she goes up there and someone just thumps her skull with a bunch of elbows? Hey, man, you know, UFC was wrong in sending her up. Her weight class is really here. Work with her. I mean, the UFC does a lot now, especially with that PI, where they can really, really give you an honest assessment whether you belong at a certain weight class or not. Hopefully she takes advantage of it. She did miss.
She did win.
Yeah, she missed. Oh, no, Calderwood missed weight. Sorry. Take it back. Catch weight 120 pounds for Jillian Robertson.
Yep.
Years ago, I just don't know who made it that. And that's it. It doesn't identify anything in particular with Calvillo. She did test positive for marijuana metabolites. So I think maybe, again, once we get more info, I think we can accurately say, if she were to say that was my bad, then that along with, you know, the previous transgression, maybe we say, hey, look, you just got to tighten things up, man. You're a professional fighter. You only get a certain window. You were on fire starting off 3-0, and you know, you came up short in the Esparza fight, but you got to bounce back, and you're not doing it here. So you know, get it together, girl. But I'm rooting for her.
I mean, if you had to guess, this is her. Like, I remember all her posts were pretty cheerful. She's chilling at the pool. I think this was yesterday or the day before. But you never know. There could be outside factors that let it play out first and figure it out. Well, but even then, it's like we've also heard other fighters that just kind of plan for that accordingly, right?
Right. Yeah, other girls won't give her that pass. But
who was the person that said that the other day?
Sajara just went through that. Yeah. All right. Let's go to UFC.com. They just revamped it. And we haven't been that impressed. But to be fair, it was just upon the first gaze. I felt like the other one got you excited about what's in there. And this one's like cleaner, but yet, okay, you know, like we have to adjust. We have to make a switch here because it's been years since they've done this. So when I look at it, right away I see Santiago Ponzinibbio. And right away they're promoting him. It says Ponzinibbio comes for Circle, so I imagine that's some sort of a video. It's got events on the left, so right away you can start figuring out, hey, well, I don't care about this one. Tell me more about Toronto. Athletes, let's see here. Featured athletes, all athletes. Let's see what happens when you click to an athlete. How thorough it is. Are they promoting the athlete or?
See that.
So let's start with alphabetical.
That's the thing. When you click on the athlete, they do have a fighter profile, but it takes extra clicks to get there. Like, for example, you could get to a fighter maybe within 1 or 2 clicks from the homepage of the first UFC site on the event you're trying to look for. But this one, but the new one, you have to. It gives you whatever headline article. I'm a dangerous finisher, and doesn't you have to read the fine print to see what the fighter is if you don't already recognize the odd photo of the fighter, which kind of blasts you in front. But you got to go. You have to actually scroll down, and like if you click preview the fight card there to try to get to the fight card, it gives you an option. But all it does is in respect to the writer, I respect to the writer who writes who writes for them. But it's just a very short preview. It doesn't give you any pictures, doesn't give you any bios. You have to keep scrolling down to the actual card. Now, once you click the actual card, it will pull up, or you click events, for example, from the home page to try to get away from all that graphics. If you just click straight up events, right, it pulls up UFC 231. That's the first thing that pops up on your page. It's not even the actual event. So I have to click events instead of being brought right to the relevant event at hand that they should be promoting. Now I have to scroll down, save these dates. Now the first one, Ponzinibbio, after I click once and scroll down, now I can get to the relevant event at hand. Full details. Clicking full details now. Now when you click full details, the problem with that is it just gives you the main card, and it doesn't give you the main card in a visual form, and it doesn't tell you. It only tells you where it's aired on the very right hand side. The time is really small in the middle, and you have to physically scroll down to see who's on the card, and that's just for the main card. It divvies it up into 3 more clicks because you separates prelims and early prelims, which, as we know, can be on 3 different broadcasting platforms and 3 different times. Right? You're trying to again. This was all answered without any clicks with the original UFC model. Furthermore, let's just say we want to see the fighter profiles from the matchup. I click Magny Ponzinibbio. Cool little flash. Flashing that pulls up, and it shows their stats in unison. This is fine. Although I will say is, even for someone who loves stats, the stats that they produce on here, they're cool and they're useful sometimes, but they're not really indicative of a lot of things, the fights that are taking place or the fighters themselves. But what I do use, and a lot of people use, and this is where the UFC has an upper hand, right? Like, this is where like Mayweather can box really good. All the other websites can box, but UFC's Nasukawa, he can kick. UFC's website can kick and do all these things. They took away their own legs. The one thing they had in their fighter profiles that none of the other websites we went over have in their fighter profiles is bios, extensive bios. One has a decent one where it has like a 1 paragraph for each guy, which is nice, and there's little tidbits in there. But UFC had like a plethora of questions. Say what you will about them, but we were able to tell how long they were training for, what their ranks are, what titles they've held in what organizations, were they in kickboxing and boxing. Like, the UFC profiles have a lot of gems there that none of the other sites really have, and it's really useful for people that go, and whether you're a writer or a breakdown guy or a handicapper, like, we all use those things, and I know that's a big complaint out there. So sorry I got long-winded and took over, but that's even as a fan, we're talking about entry level now, right? We're talking about casual, right?
Because I'm going to be, what did you call me, the devil's advocate or the other side? Do they build this more like 95, 97% for the fan. Like the people that are like you're getting paid and others get paid to break down and do this. Unless you do it for the UFC, I don't think their concern is making it easier for you. So as a fan, what do you think?
I agree. As a fan, I think it scores even less because the navigation that I just said, I'm kind of comparing everything as the clicks as I go, and from clicks, scrolls, and information available, they're not hitting those check marks. And as an entry-level casual fan, we need these people on the boat. From a media perspective, from a fan perspective, you want to see the sport do well, and definitely from the UFC perspective, running the website, we need people on board. We need to be promoting what's relevant. And some of the main things that what I got to was not just the fighter bio, that was the fine point of it, but the basic haystack. Give us the freaking card. Don't make me scroll through all these different things and figure out who the F is this guy, what is this story. And as far as web design, like it's clean, but it's not functional. One is if we go back and forth from one to UFC, both of them are clean, but one is functional. This reminds me of, now tell me if this sounds familiar to you guys, late 90s, early 2000s when Flash, you guys know what I'm talking about when I say Flash. Flash is what's being used when I pulled it up. And when it first came out, I don't know if you guys remember, all the websites were like overly celebrating it to where, especially if like you didn't make the jump to a cable modem, you were still rocking that 56K, you were like, God damn, okay, enough with the Flash. Like, they were overly celebrating it. Like it became this new technology. Now you've seen people get a little more smarter with it. They're not overdoing it and whatnot. And I would argue that this new website reminds me of that era. You know, like they're overdoing the Flash. It's, ooh, this overtaking a nice slow pan over of a big story. That, no one wants those feature stories, or they do, but it's not that. It shouldn't be right up front.
Let me go old school for you guys. You know what I would like, but you guys stop me if this is silly. Her nickname's Stitch?
Yep.
Alexander Albu. Okay, I didn't know that.
Most people don't look at the nickname.
All right. So,
distracted him.
Yeah, stop me if this doesn't work. The UFC has the resources so that when you click Alexander Albu, and I only picked her because the letter A.
Yeah.
When she comes on, do you remember the movie? God damn it. Michael Douglas is sexually harassed by Demi Moore.
Disclosure.
Yeah, Disclosure.
Yeah. I learned a lot from that movie, A Young Dan Tom. Go ahead.
All right. So do you remember when he found out they were setting him up? And they all remember Donald Sutherland is walking with a group of people because he wants to show them the latest technology to a hotel room.
I think so.
Okay, and remember Michael Douglas beats him there because he wants to look at the technology before we get to it. Before the other guys get to it, he puts on one of those viewers, and that person's talking to him. It was an angel.
Virtual reality?
Yeah. What if Alexander Albu said, "Welcome, my name's Alexander Albu." For one, you would know how to pronounce her name.
Yeah.
And then if she were to say, like, give a quick video of herself saying, you know, I'm 7-0 in the UFC. You okay, Dan?
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm 7-0 in the UFC. I like to do this. I like to do that. I have a family. I don't have a family. I train here. I don't train here. My favorite technique is this. Blah, blah. Talk to the camera. Isn't that what kids want? Isn't that what a kid, like a kid should be able to go, okay, who's next? Then he looks at the phone. And he should be able to access what's on the site and click and then see the fighter talk to him in 30 seconds. For one, again, how to pronounce the name. Where they're from, what their record is, what they maybe hope to accomplish in this fight, what their favorite technique is, or something like that. But you know what I mean? Like,
I'm going to bridge the gap on what you said.
Okay,
and
yeah, please
old
do.
School.
Go ahead.
For people who don't remember Disclosure, correct me if I'm wrong, but are you talking a little bit about like what happens Monday Night Football when you see somebody say, you know, blah blah blah,
Tom
offensive
Brady,
lineman,
University of Nebraska, yeah, something like that, quick, a little, no, not that quick. But maybe 30 seconds long, because there they got to cover 11 athletes on each side of the ball. Right here, it's just two people.
But it's their bodies coming out.
Two people before their fight. Yeah, a lot of people wear a headphone or whatever, or maybe it's just at home. But again, how to pronounce their name, so we're not going, what the fuck's her name? You know, how do you pronounce it or whatever? You know, but they can establish that, a little bit about them, and I think it would be, you know, and then quick relevant videos of anything that they've ever done, you know, whether you know, on Tough, sometimes they film themselves where they come from, their family or whatever, but at least in the initial 30 seconds can just be them, and the importance of their fight or whatever, and they should boast about themselves. I'm 7-0, 4-0 in the UFC.
Okay, that might be difficult.
My favorite technique is this, and
can't bank
boom.
the videos now.
Because then you'd have to update it
Yeah.
often.
Right.
And I don't know how often they can get the fighter to do that.
When they get to the event, you know how they get there on Tuesday and they got to sign a bunch of posters and they got to weigh in and they got to get they do the Reebok stop and then they do that actual shadow boxing. Right then and there, they move to the next area where they do the video compression. And hey, I know it's got to be a team of people that does it. But they got from Tuesday to Wednesday to turn it around. And what do we care? It's not like we're going to go in there the Wednesday prior to look at what's happening in Beijing, China next week. We're looking at what's happening in Argentina this week. But that type of consumption, video consumption, I think would be helpful. I think
it would be awesome if they could pull it off. I don't know how much what they do here has to translate over to their app. I know with our website, some of that stuff can't come over.
Right.
If they don't include the record, then you're only asking them to do it one time, which I think is fair. If you do include record, then you're going to have them do it over and over. That might be a little bit tougher, but I think it would be awesome. From my perspective, looking at this, I think this, the way they've done their website to me, whoever did this website, what it tells me, I don't think an MMA fan did that website.
Yeah, no.
I just think some computer nerd did that. Sometimes that's not going to work. But the one thing I will say is with 25 years, the anniversary of the UFC, they need to stop looking at this as casual fan, hardcore fan, because I think we've bridged that gap more than people think.
That's true,
and the one indicator to that, to me, was Ben Askren popping up on that screen and how many people in that arena went off. That, to me, told me there are a lot more hardcore fans than we think.
Was a
And
standout.
ESPN now, I just feel like maybe that gap is a little bit smaller than we think it is.
I agree. That's a great point. That's a great point there. And also about I definitely don't think it's an MMA person. It feels like someone making like a pill advertisement website. Like it really just feels like that, to be honest. Like very corporate. And I think maybe less corporate and more like what Goes is saying, giving the respect to that gap bridge. Real quick, side trivia. I love that disclosure pool. Young Dan Tom.
How does he turn her down, by the way?
He learned. Dan Tom learned many things from that film, including this. I'll just say this, guys. A live audio excerpt. If Goes tried to pull the trick where we have a live audio. When Dan watched that when he was 9 years old, it would say, "Why is her mouth going there?"
I don't remember
I'll leave it at that. That was my first time being exposed to that. I was just like, I watched this movie way too young.
Love that movie, man.
Yeah,
I love them. Well, it's got great
quoting it for I don't know
It's
how
got
long.
great actors in it. Even Dennis.
The Firm is another one.
What's
that
the comedian? Dennis.
Leary?
No. Dennis. Not Hopper. Dennis Richards. Dennis. Fuck.
Is it the guy that did Monday Night Football?
Yes. What was the comedian's name, Dan? Remember
Dennis
he was-
Hopper?
No.
Dennis Miller?
Dennis Miller. He's
Yeah,
in that
yes,
as well. He
yeah.
turns on Michael Douglas in the movie. But here's what I'm getting at. There's been time, guys, and it could be that I have a pea brain. All right. There's been times where if I just scroll up here and she says, "I'm single, I'm married, I'm this, I'm that," but let's say I love sailing and I love sailing, I'd be like, "No shit." Or if she says, "I got 2 Jack Russells at home," I'd be like, "Oh, how about that?"
They did that with the old
Or
website.
I love waking up on
Yeah, that
Saturday
kind of
morning
stuff.
and watching Manchester United. I might be like, A, I love Manchester United. Or B, even if she said Liverpool, I might just go, "Well, she likes soccer." I can give her shit on Twitter, like friendly crossfire, not
So
not
then, like maybe
abuser or
their
stalker.
last few posts on social media should pop up or something.
Yeah, that's a good point.
which is-
But not even that, because she might just say something like, "It's cold today in Russia." I mean, I want to know a little bit more about it. So when it jumps out at me like that, Kevin in Chicago, if she were to say, let's say Kevin in Chicago didn't know that Kid Yamamoto came to the United States and wrestled for 3 years and was a state champion, he might just think, "Oh, he's a flashy striker from Japan. What do I care?" But if he knew that, he might be like, "Oh, respect," because he connects with wrestling.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
see,
No,
I
100%.
connect with different things. And so when you learn a little bit more about them, whether they're saying it to you, that's the easiest way to I think it's easier to click something or for her to just start talking than for me to go, "Oh, what's all this bullshit? I got to read 3 paragraphs." I may not do it. But if she starts talking to me right away and says, "My name is Alexander Albu. I'll be fighting so-and-so.
This is my
you know,
calendar.
blah, blah, blah," I'm in. I'm already listening to her. And then hopefully the UFC can provide questions as to where's your favorite places to travel, what are your hobbies, or do you have dogs or anything like that, some stuff that's so easy to throw out there that some of us kind of connect with.
If I were the creator, I'd make one just for George. Hi, I'm Alexandra Albu, and you're gonna have a good day today, George. Hey, thanks, Alexandra. And you just go out on your way out the door.
Hey,
I'll take that.
really quick. Do you know yet? I haven't been on Fight Pass, but did they revamp as well? Because Fight Pass was a nightmare.
Knock on wood. They've had some ironing processes, and they've been pretty good. It's been less of a force though since Eric Winter left. But now that you say that, I'm kind of nervous if they do, because that just smells nightmare. It felt like it took them so long to level out their life.
Dude, just to figure things out and get into a groove, it took like 3 or 4 months to finally get it down, and you're getting down something that doesn't work properly.
Yeah.
So when when they make their adjustments, it's gonna ruin it.
It's a little cleaner, by the way.
It's better.
Because before it was like, rawr, but we got so used to it that we figured it out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There are links to each fighter that says, hey, you want to watch their fight, but it does take you to Fight Pass. But at least it's taking you there right away, and that's pretty cool.
Let me ask you, George. You're not crazy with what you're saying, by the way. To give my 2 cents on your idea there. If anybody you're going to lob that idea to would be the UFC to facilitate, with the caveats that Goes mentioned. You can't be a little too detailed, because then you're going to have to update. But I will argue that also what Goes mentioned, the original profile did allow you to give those sort of things as far as the profile goes. But that's the point. At least allow us to click to that. Our current website does not allow you to click to those information. And I'm not trying to hate on the headlining feature articles that they blast you with, because to be honest, it was one of those articles that I connected with in the exact same way you said to Dan Hardy when he first came on the scene before his first fight. All I read was it was like he likes Ninja Turtles and visited the Shaolin Temple, and I'm like, I like Ninja Turtles,
Legos.
and I visited the Shaolin Temple, and I clicked on the article and I read about Dan Hardy, and I became a fan before I even saw him in the UFC. So there's definitely a weight to that, but again, priority. I think they're prioritizing the wrong things on the site.
One other thing. It doesn't have to be them talking. I just thought of something. Because you know what else is pretty interesting? Have you ever seen a weigh-in where they, let's say today at some point, you'll see the Argentina weigh-ins. And let's say Rashad and Jimmy Smith are back in L.A. with Karen Bryant, Megan Olivi's in Buenos Aires. And as each fighter's walking up, they'll go, they pan back to L.A. Whether you hear the voice or you hear them talking about it, they'll go, this is Neil Magny's 18th fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
For this fight, he went to American Top Team, got away from Colorado because it was a conflict of interest, or blah, blah, blah. If they just said little things like that. So I'm not married to the fact that it has to be Alexander Albu talking to me, but just some sort of a voice that gives me a few things. I think that's good for the gamblers. I think it's good for the fantasy fighters, or for just fans that want to fill that time. Why listen to a commercial when you can click this? If you make it interesting enough. One other thing. We got to go to a break pretty soon. I done fucked up. I apologize to the artist who created this. It was found on MMA History today. It was retweeted by Daniel Cormier. Yesterday I said that I spotted a mistake with GSP. It was Matt Serra. It wasn't GSP. So GSP was only there one time. It was Matt Serra that was standing next to Matt Hughes. So I'm dumb. And they did not include interims, but we stated that. But, man, some of these champions looked really, really cool. Cody Garbrandt, Carlos Newton, Anderson Silva with the yellow shorts, Rich Franklin with the black and pink. Like, a lot of these were very, very cool. I love Dan Severn's mustache and, like, Demetrius Johnson,
the coolest one.
Joanna, she stands out. Like, a lot of them were really, really done well, man. That's a very, very cool poster. Who is it? TAOF. Tauf. Or Tao F, I don't know. Was the creator of that. So I got that done. We're going to go to break soon. Guys, rank these 4 top to bottom. Whose website you like the best to worst?
Best to worst?
Yeah.
Website.
It doesn't mean last place sucks. It just means that's your number 4.
I'm going to go Bellator, PFL, 1, UFC.
Dan?
I'm going to go Bellator because of the video component, and I was going to say that they come closest to what you were asking for, George, because when you click on their fighter profile, it includes interviews about them as well as the fights. So they come closest to what you want, I would argue. Then I will go PFL because of the layout. It's just perfect for the layout. I love it, as simple as it is. And I mean, UFC is the one I visit most, obviously. So for that reason, UFC should be number 1. But if we're grading based on a website strictly critique, man, I'll put UFC 3rd above 1 because obviously they offer way more. But again, for both clean websites, I still think 1 is the more functional website. And even though I'm ranking 1 at the end, I think 1 is the best looking of all the websites, just based on looks.
Okay, my favorite is PFL, then Bellator, then 1, then the UFC. As far as which one's best looking, I'd say it's Bellator, barely over one, then PFL, then the UFC. There you go. All right.
Okay.
Let's talk to Dan. I summoned him, so
Yeah,
let's get him
summoned
in real
him,
fast.
yes.
What's up, Dan from Oregon?
What up, man? How did the UFC go from number 1 to number 4 overnight? Just like that. That's
just
crazy.
websites.
And you
agree,
guys are sugarcoating the shit out of this.
Just websites.
Yeah, what do you want? ACB.com? Which one are you pushing?
Shit, you
I don't
guys
know that
got
they
it,
were ever number one,
Bellator,
honestly.
UFC?
Their website, yeah.
They offered live stats. No one offered that. They had the Pick'em League on there before they got rid of it. UFC's was pretty good, and I totally agree. Fight Pass used to suck. They changed the algorithm, which, just changes how you got to navigate it, and change is never great, so maybe that's why we're freaking out so much. But let's go back to weight cutting, since that's kind of what we were talking about.
Okay.
Man, Chael Sonnen will tell you that he thinks that these people should be disqualified. These fights shouldn't even happen. I'm not going to go that far, but Roxanne Modafferi's out there on Twitter. She's saying these people need to start without a point. Take a point away from these people right away. And I think it needs to be that and a fine. If she's 3 pounds over, that should be at least 30%. I don't know why it's only 20. But
I think the
Dominic
opposing
Cruz-
fighter can actually push it even further and say, well, you're offering me 20 because that's what the commission says, but I'll only fight you if it's 40. And remember, they have the decision to either turn the fight down or to accept the fight. So it's kind of also on them. I think starting them with a -1 in a 3-round fight, that doesn't tell me who the better fighter was that night. So I like taking more money from them. You'll always hurt a fighter that way. And leaving it for the other fighter to negotiate if they want to take more from them or not. They are definitely entitled to do that. You can also make them reweigh at a certain weight the next day, so that they aren't at an advantage there. But that's where I stand. I don't want to cut her from the league or pull her if the doctor's already cleared her to fight.
When Cynthia Calvillo is Dana's favorite, how much leverage and negotiation power do you think the other person's got? How much do you think that fighter wants to put their energy into negotiating this bullshit when she shouldn't even be fighting this person, or it should be a freaking figure on a piece of paper, 1 pound, 20%, 2 pounds, 30%. Just have it written down somewhere. And
every commission is different.
This isn't just me. This is Chael. He's saying it's cheating. Dominic Cruz blatantly came out and said this is basically cheating. 7 pounds, 3 pounds, 4 pounds. Everyone's in different weight classes. Maybe we need to look at it as
the opponent has every right to turn down the fight too, though. You know what I mean? And as far as favorite, that's just something I heard, and it's something I heard 2 years ago. You saw how fast Yair wasn't Dana's favorite, and Ngannou wasn't Dana's favorite. That turned quickly, so I don't think Dana has a favorite or two. Sometimes it lasts for a long time, sometimes it doesn't. So I don't think that would really play into the mind of the opponent.
I don't know about favorite talk, but I am glad that you brought that up, Dan, because my basic answer would break down to 2 things. One, I already noted with the Hirota thing, we see some commissions pull a fight and some commissions less aggressive on that. Now, I want to be careful because you have commissions like New York pulling fighters for chapped lips, but I would like to see commissions more aggressive, whether it's preset rules for failures or preset purses, or being more aggressive as far as the doctor, more importantly, the health side. Secondly, if all those things clear and they're deemed healthy enough to fight, whether or not the weight was made, then back to what you were saying, Dan, I don't want to put too much of a tinfoil hat on, but I do agree I would like to see the other fighter be able to exercise their leverage without fear of any kind of repercussion. In fact, with more support from the organization and bodies. I think those 2 things would help. It wouldn't solve the weight cutting problem, but as far as the aftermath, I think those would help a lot.
All right, we got to go to break. Thanks for calling in, Dan. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93. Stay close. We'll be back with Antonina Shevchenko.
Common sense. These guys have none of that. You listen to them, so you're no better. I am awesome, though. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Thousands of people affected by California wildfires urgently need support. Help the American Red Cross meet emergency needs and provide shelter to these families. Donate today to California wildfires by going to redcross.org or calling 1-800-RED-CROSS. All right, our guest for the day is Antonina Shevchenko. She will be fighting Yi-Yeon Kim at the Tough 28 finale, which takes place on November 30th. Antonina punched her ticket into the UFC in her last fight by getting a win at the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series. It was a round 2 TKO stoppage of Jamie Navarra. She is undefeated in mixed martial arts, and she's got a decorated kickboxing and Muay Thai record of 39-1. Incredible, the Shevchenko sisters. All right, joining us now on the hotline is Antonina Shevchenko. Hi, Antonina. How are you?
Hello. Everything just great, thank you.
All right. Well, welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio. You're on with George, Goes, and Dan. We're excited to have you. We were there when you got the opportunity to fight at Dana White Contender Series, and you made the best of it. We were very, very happy for you. And now, about 5 months later, now you are fighting on an actual UFC card. I don't know if you've ever heard of the jitters, fighters getting nervous their first times in the UFC. Do you anticipate that in this fight card coming up, or do you feel like maybe you already got that out of the way when you fought at the Dana White Contender Series?
Before every fight, usually fighters, they have this feeling kind of nervous. So, and I'm in this sport, in martial arts in total. It's all my life. I started to train since I was 7 years old, and now I'm in sport more than 20 years. So I had in my life during these years different competitions, different several times world championships, and of course before every fight, every world championship, different kind of pressure, but there is always pressure of being the first time world champion, or defending it, or fighting in different organizations that before you fought. So, and of course now this my first fight in UFC, in big league of MMA, and there is a kind of pressure and there is a kind of nervous, of course, but I can handle it, I can control it. And I just understand that what I have to do, to train hard and perform good. That's all that's important.
You have an undefeated record in MMA, and you've only lost once in kickboxing and Muay Thai. But most notably, you haven't lost in 15 years. So you wake up pretty good in the morning, feeling pretty good, like a winner, every day for the last 15 years. Do you ever almost fear losing because of that, I guess, because you've had such an incredible run in your combat sports career?
I think it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter if of course, everybody wants to win, and I'm trained now and doing my best to win, to keep winning. But I think it doesn't matter if fighters or even big championship, big fighters, big names, they had loss in their record. It doesn't matter. It's just one step from all the way that they had before and what they will have in the future. So I don't think that it's really important.
Antonina Shevchenko, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio, she'll be fighting Ji-Yeon Kim at the Tough 28 finale on November 30th. Goes, what do you have for Antonina?
Antonina, originally, we had heard Ashley Evans-Smith, and when I heard that matchup, I really liked it. Is there a possibility that maybe further down the road you could still have that fight? Is that one that you would still want to have?
So at the beginning, yes, it was Ashley Evans-Smith, and I thought too that it was good fight because she was ranked number 10 or number 12, if I'm not wrong, and so I was okay with that. But I was said that she got injured, so there is nothing to do. Not possible to do nothing in this situation. Just to receive the fight and opponent that who are available to fight you in this date.
Before your matches, do you have any traditions that you like to do, whether it's MMA or Muay Thai? Are they the same for you, the traditions?
Yes, they're pretty the same. It's more not like traditions, but of course some things that I usually do before the fight that helps me to calm down, to keep my mind focused during the fight day, and they're pretty the same in Muay Thai and MMA. So yes, I have.
Can you share what some of those are? Like, do you meditate, or
I
is
don't
it a
think
secret?
so.
Or? Oh, okay.
It's not a secret. It's not a secret, but it's a usual thing that somebody do during the fight day. Just some details that I probably would not like to share.
I understand. Okay. La Bandera, Antonina Shevchenko joining us here on the hotline. All right, Dan, Tom, our fight analyst, what do you have for Antonina?
Hey, Antonina. I'm looking at your Instagram here, and it looks like you spent the last 3 weeks in Maine training with your sister
Right.
and at Lawton Team Lawton Martial Arts. Can you talk about that? What brought you in? I know you guys like to travel to train a lot, but what brought you to Maine?
So we are right now in Maine with my sister Valentina and our coach Pavel Fedotov. We are training here with our friends in local gym. And what happens that we fighting with Valentina not in the same card, but very close fights we have. So I will fight November 30th, and it will be in Las Vegas. And Valentina fight December 8th, 1 week after me, and it will be in Toronto, Canada. So, of course, to choose a training camp where the place where training camp will be, we have to think about the place where we will fight. And I will fight in Las Vegas and Valentina in Canada. So our coach decided that it should be kind of these 3 weeks we have to prepare in the climate similar like Toronto climate. And in Maine it's just perfect. It's the same. They're really close, like by nature, by climate, by this type of things. And so, yes, that's why we are in Maine. And I'm very happy because the place is very beautiful. This state, when we came here 3 weeks ago, the trees had these leaves, these beautiful colors, yellow, red. It was so amazing. Lakes are here, and it's kind of wild nature. Lakes, you can fish here, you can hunt here. People do this here, and we really enjoyed our time here in Maine.
Right on, and that's really, I love hearing about you and your sister's prep, how thorough, how serious you take it. But let me ask you, in regards to your prep, do you and Valentina essentially just take turns playing each other's opponent? For example, obviously Valentina, she's known for being such a good counter striker, but correct me if I'm wrong, your opponent Kim, she looks very aggressive when I watch tape of her fighting. Has Valentina been playing the role of Kim and being very aggressive toward you? How does that work out?
Usually we do like this, of course. When Valentina is preparing, I'm like trying of imitating opponents of her. But this time it's a little bit different because she cannot imitate my opponent now because she has to be herself for her fight with Joanna. And I cannot be playing Joanna now for Valentina because I have to be myself on my fight in Las Vegas. So it's kind of different, a little bit different because we are fighting too close. I mean, in 1 week difference, our fights. That's why we had different sparring partners. So it was first in Las Vegas. Before this, it was in Texas, Las Vegas. Now here in Maine, guys are coming trained with us, and they're different. grapplers, strikers, wrestlers, MMA complete fighters, and we just trying to change sparring partners and to have them like better our sparring partners than me or Valentina.
Interesting approach that the Shevchenko sisters have. I love hearing the thing about the climate and the travel. Yeah, that's why there's all kinds of success in that family. Antonina, I'm not sure if you answered this. If I apologize if you did, but will Valentina be at your fight, and will you be at her fight?
Yes, definitely, yes. So next week we are coming back to Las Vegas together. She will keep going with her preparation, but she will be in my fight. And, of course, after my fight, I will be free, and I will go on her fight, of course, in her corner.
Awesome. All right. Well, it's great talking to you. I hope you have a safe camp, whatever's left, a safe weight cut. Obviously, it's very important to make your weight and do it safely. I don't know if you saw what happened with Cynthia Calvillo this morning, but that was kind of scary. And, of course, safe travels. You're on the other side of the country, and we're in Las Vegas, so we will see you guys soon when you guys come to Las Vegas. And in the meantime, I hope you have a nice weekend. Whatever you can celebrate, Thanksgiving, I hope that goes nice for you as well. And thank you so much for the interview today.
Very much. Thank you for having me. Also, what great talking to you again. And I hope to talk to you after my fight also.
Sounds good, Antonina. Okay, take care. Say hi to the coach and Valentina for us. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you to Roger for handling that interview for us. Really appreciate that. As I was asking my first question, I was using words that aren't common, but these ladies are intelligent. She was able to pick up everything, like we all said. Whether it was a little bit of splash of slang or just not commonly used English. I mean, they actually understand everything we're saying.
I believe it's their third language, right?
It is, man. It's very, very impressive.
She improved since the last time, I would argue. She's just in here, right?
Yeah. And how about this, guys? For the first 20 seconds, did you think Valentina was doing the interview? Almost like if Antonina was sick, and she said, I can't do it. Will you do? They sound very much alike, but after 20 seconds, I realized, oh, that's Antonina. But there's a couple words that they say that they sound very identical.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you on that.
Yeah, the Shevchenko sisters are awesome. Okay. There you have it. That's our last interview for today. So let's take a last break, and then that way we can cruise to the finish line. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93. Stay close. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
I sound alike. Ain't that right, Goes? Yeah.
Yeah, kind of at times.
I don't sound like that. What the fuck was that?
I want to thank all of our guests for the week: Art Davey, Michael Johnson, Jimmy Rivera, Devontae Smith, Pam Sorensen, Ed Soares, Ashley Yoder, Tim Means, Sabina Mazzo, Luis Smolka, Carlos Silva, James Vick, and Antonina Shevchenko. Tomorrow night, USC plays UCLA. That's a big LA university rivalry, college rivalry, if you will. And even though they're not as good as in other years, the rivalry's still pretty heated. It's basically for bragging rights in Los Angeles. So I'll be at that game. If anybody's going to be at that game, holler at me. I'm going with the Squid and Woody and Gabe, and should be a fun time. Tonight, Mater Day plays Centennial. I talked about that earlier, but I'm excited for that. Soccer's on international. We're on an international break, so kind of chilling there. Did you see Wayne Rooney had his last game?
Yeah, that was weird because
blew
at
out
one
the
point
US.
I was almost rooting for him to score that goal.
Yeah, and Peru lost to Ecuador, so I'm sure Dante will be giving you some grief on there on that one.
Started.
Okay, so now let's talk about the daily debate. It's time for the daily debate, brought to you by the MMA Junkie radio team. We kind of touched on this topic earlier, so now we can dive into it a little bit more. Floyd Mayweather and Tenshin Nasukawa, the boxing. Excuse me. Let me start over with the ongoing discussion of the potential Floyd Mayweather and Tenshin Nasukawa boxing exhibition. Our daily debate question is simple: how interested are you in this fight? Here are the choices, guys. I will watch that bad boy live. I'll catch a replay. Maybe I'll see it, or definitely won't watch. Step off. Dan, Tom, you go first.
Man, you know, I love being contrarian, and I tend to answer emotionally, which would probably say, I don't want to watch this. I'm against the circus fights. But to be honest, if I were to take that stance, I would have to take that stance for a lot of other fights that I can't miss and watch all the time. So that would make me a hypocrite, and I work for the media, so I kind of got to. I will fall under, I'll catch the replay, I believe, the second option. Though I will be honest, my option, here's how I would watch it live. If you let me be, you know, the chain-smoking guy taking bets in Bloodsport, you know, I got the glasses, I'm Asian, I'm halfway there. You let me be that guy, taking bets for this fight live, and I'll watch it live. But no, put me down for number 2.
Goes?
Maybe I'll see it. I just feel like I don't need to. I don't want to. And for the sake of recapping it on the show, I could probably tell you what it's going to look like without even having to see it. So maybe I'll catch it. We'll see.
So you're on 3. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on 2 as well. Because it's 3-minute rounds, 9 minutes out of my lifetime. Out of my life, whatever.
Yeah, but if I gave you a cheeseburger, it would probably take you 9 minutes to eat it. And I bet you'd have more fun doing that than watching that fight.
That's true. That's true. I'm not going to argue that one. I don't think I'll watch it live unless you were to tap me on the shoulder and go, look, it's on. Then I'll watch it. But yeah, I'm not setting aside, hey, can we go out Friday instead of Saturday? I know we had plans, but no, I'll catch a replay. And I'm close to maybe I'll see it. And I'll give you an example. And this is a lesson for our friends at Bellator. I'm a Pitbull fan, all right? But I already know the result. And tonight I said I'm going to the Mater Day Centennial game. And tomorrow I'll be USC UCLA. And if I get home and I'm watching Argentina and it goes by, I'm not so sure I'm going to sit through that other fight, at least the whole 25 minutes, maybe some key moments or some fast forward. But I may actually be to maybe I'll see it. But more than likely, I think if I'm keeping it real, I'll catch a replay. But yeah, that's just, you know. All right, here's how it broke down, guys. Almost 2,000 votes, closer to 1,900. 42% said definitely won't watch.
Wow. Okay.
42% said no. 24% said I'll catch a replay, and I think where most of us sit here for sure, or at least the people we chill with. 23% said maybe I'll see it. 11% said I will watch it live. That's Dan from Morgan there.
Yeah,
11%.
He ain't missing it. Yeah.
I didn't know we had that many listeners.
We should be happy that number's 11, and we should hope that it's more, because that means those are just. They're junkies, man. They're junkies of combat sports, not just MMA. All right, folks. That's today's daily debate brought to you by the MMA Junkie radio team. All right, we got to recap the week real fast. Just word or two. What are you looking forward to, or what news startled you? I mean, I'm obviously excited for Ponzinibbio and Magny and Lamas and Elkins. And this coming back, okay. Cowboy Connor, that made me happy. How about you guys? Anything to leave us with?
I actually, despite already knowing the results, I kind of want to go back and watch some of those Bellator fights. I want to see what happened to Phil Davis.
I'm actually more interested in that.
Yeah,
I know it's 15 minutes.
I want to see Ryan's fight,
right,
so I'm probably going to end up wanting to watch that and Invicta.
Yeah. Me too. Those are good things to highlight. I will say with the Connor and Cowboy, I treat that almost like Mayweather Nasukawa, to be honest. Like, why get excited for these things until we know contracts are signed and whatnot? There's way too much news breaking. There's way too much stuff happening that I feel like our attention should be on the event coming up and giving respect to the event that just happened, because it's so hard to even just do that in the state of our sport. So I side with you in the Bellator and Invicta, giving them some love.
I'll say this. I went to the gym last night, and the first thing the guy told me when I walked in was, did you see that elbow from Yair?
I was just about to ask, how do you think Yair and the Korean Zombie are feeling right now? Like, are they just finally starting like, feeling better? Like, they've had a few nights sleep now, but
this is when those bruises start to, like, they lose that purple look and they start to get that, like, green look.
Right.
So I think they're still kind of going through those phases.
Yeah.
But yeah, their bodies have to be a wreck.
I know, man.
But people still talking about it. Think about some of the major pay-per-views that we've gone through, and we've kind of said goodbye by like Tuesday. We were still talking about this fight yesterday.
Yeah.
In this card. It was fun.
LFA 54 is tonight in Costa Mesa, California, at the Orange County Fairgrounds. Those fights start at 6. If you were looking for something last minute to do, there's some MMA there. Otherwise, they're on Access TV. Invicta FC 32. That's tonight as well in Oklahoma on the UFC Fight Pass. One championship is, God, I hope I got this right. I think it's tomorrow. Let me see here. It is 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, tomorrow. So
Brave FC is going on right now.
It's super late in Indonesia, but catch it on the app. I want to start giving them a little bit more love. I promise those guys, hey, you guys start doing a little bit more North America business, and we're in. But I just can't relate to Jimmy Yabo versus Anthony Engelin. I mean, where do I start? They both have 11 fights. Where do I go back and do my research to see what they got going on? See, Tyler McGuire, 11-0, I'm in. Tell me more about Tyler McGuire. You know, you got to throw some of that at us, man. All right, that is it. We got to get out of here. I hope you all have a nice weekend. Some of you are probably going to maybe even take some days off next week, so who knows if we won't see you for another 10 days or so. Please be safe wherever you're traveling. But we will be here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and if we don't see you, just know that we are sending you love and prosperity and many thanks to you on this upcoming Thanksgiving weekend. So for Danny and Dan and Goes, I'm George. Have a nice day. Have a nice weekend. Go out there and be a champion.